Welcome to Life Strategies with Nat, where wellness meets wealth. Join me, Natalia Edelman, as we explore powerful life strategies with trailblazing entrepreneurs and business leaders to elevate your lifestyle, boost your business, and ignite your unique brilliance. Welcome back. We've got Dave Thompson back. I'm super excited because we're talking about fasting. We're talking about fasting for women in particular, right, Dave? Because we've had you on the show before and we've taken a big dive into fasting. So if you've missed any episodes, you can always go back, or you can just stay tuned and listen to what we're about to talk about. So where do you want to start? Where do you want to start with fasting for women in particular? And I will say that our audience, we are like powerhouse ladies, we're visionaries, we're impact driven, we are on the go, we have massive missions. Like it is, we need to be in peak state in order to live our purpose driven lives, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I know that's who's listening. So let's dive right in.
Awesome. Yeah. So I'm always kind of searching for that peak state as well too. I definitely experiment a lot with things, but one of the biggest things that I've experimented with, which I kind of feel is one of the foundational, uh, like just game changers for overall health is fasting, between intermittent fasting, prolonged fasting. And it really does vary between male and women. And ideally, or well, the main reason not to go down like a super like scientific realm is just hormones, right? So um, the difference between male and women are hormones, right? Like guys have 12 to 24-hour hormone dumps. Women have 28-day hormone cycles, right? So you can
Mm.
have the first half of your cycle, you're going to have higher levels of testosterone. The second half, you're going to have higher levels of estrogen, or I'm sorry, the middle third there, you're going to have like higher levels of estrogen. And the latter third, you're going to have higher levels of progesterone. So these are kind of like it's the reason why like women have different cravings throughout the month. It's the reason why women sometimes feel a completely different person throughout the month, right? And it's all around hormones where guys are pretty sort of straightforward, right? Like kind of same because we have our hormone dumps every 12 to 24 hours, where it's a little bit different. So fasting for women is going to be completely different than fasting for men, and it's based around your actual 28-day hormone cycle. Um, Fasting can create cortisol levels increases. So we'll kind of briefly touch about stress and the good and bad and ugly of stress, right? There is good stress, right? There's stress that cold water showers or cold plunges is a good stress, right? It does raise cortisol levels, but it also raises all these other beneficial hormones, beneficial chemical processes that happen in your body. Uh, then there's bad, cortisol where you're stressed out, you're not sleeping, you're working long hours, you're running yourself ragged on just eight, nine, 10 cups of coffee, right? Like, so you're really kind of getting on the bad side of that where it can start blunting a lot of your hormone responses. So when you're in the latter third of your 28-day cycle, cortisol is really, really tough on progesterone. It will plummet it, it will tank it, and that will throw your rest of your cycle off for the next month as well, too. So your kind of latter half of your 28-day cycle, women should start going into some relaxation types of things, doing warm showers, doing things that will help bring down cortisol because you want to like basically blunt the release of cortisol during that last third of your monthly cycle, so that you're not wrecking progesterone levels in your body. So it's also a reason why, like, there's times where you have chocolate cravings and different things like that, and it really is hormonal driven. So I really wanted to start there, and that's the biggest difference with fasting for men versus women, and just really understanding what you should be doing. So the later half, like right before, um, you're about to start your cycle, you should really try to not fast, right? Like eat normally, eat healthy foods, but don't do anything crazy. You don't have to do your hard, challenging hit workouts at the end of the month. Like that, don't make that last week your peak state of life, right? If you can figure out how to schedule your week around that, maybe that's your, with your busy professionals, maybe that's your prep week, your planning week. Maybe you take that last week, take the burden and the workload down just a little bit to help you understand your hormone and your loads. And you're going to be recovered. You're going to be fresher for the next time that you're going to go back into, maybe some of your peak training weeks. So just kind of when we're talking about peak states, that's, something to put out there. We all need rest and recovery. Women are going to need it differently than men. Women typically need more sleep than men, and it's all around brain function and hormone levels. So it's just understanding the different phases and understanding how you can work that into your life, and just realize those are the differences, major differences when it comes to the fasting with between men and women. So
Yeah,
um,
this is amazing, and you're touching on a lot of things that I think we kind of just take for granted or don't really think about. I mean, I do know a lot of women who are really good with planning, or they actually organize themselves based on their cycle. And I think actually more of us should do this,
yeah,
because it's so true that you want more yin in your life during the during the last week, at like more stretching, and you're not even supposed to use certain poses, like any like upright or anything like that, and the sleep and the rest and the recovery. And I think a lot of women tend to not just they don't give us they don't give yourself the you don't give yourself the time
no,
or the
and like
luxury.
most of the time, like in a lot of these things too, the more and more like we're just not taught these things, right? It's just like
Mhm.
men are from Mars, women from like whatever the stupid book is, right? We just want to separate versus just understanding, right? Like, I
Yeah.
mean, this can be super beneficial, like home life and like different things like that. Like me knowing this, like I'm able to interact with Jenny better, and my daughter's now in that age, so it's like I kind of get the flow of it, where it's like, oh, like they're not out of their mind. It's just like, hey, this is hormones. Like this is like how things operate. And when you understand, if you operate your household, same thing. Hey, look, on like this week I need a little bit more. Like the 3 other weeks I got this, bro. Like, but this
Mhm.
week I need a little bit more help to kind of, and this is going to help me throughout to the month and for the whole household. So it really is like, how do we work together? And once again, like we should all be pushing each other to reach peak states, um and just help us just continue to take that step to the next success point that we're looking for. And sometimes it can be just a peaceful house, and with knowledge you can structure things to best set you up for success, right? Like that's the ultimate thing, right? Like we don't just go out and say, "Hey, look, I'm just going to throw an obstacle my way just to mess things up." We were having a little bit of that conversation before we got in here, but
Yeah.
it's like just don't complicate stuff that week.
Yeah.
Understand how your body works. Get more sleep. Take some hot baths. Like, hey, I need a 30-minute timeout before bed, and that's the moments where it's like, hey, look, I need this time. If you can get your significant other to step up, or if you can just do that for your self care and you don't have kids and stuff like that, then utilize that week for self-care. I do this with myself too. When I train, I'm a chronic overtrainer. I've been told that for years. I've been told that by coaches. I've been told that by my wife, which is a person, which is a physical therapist. Like my trainer tells me that. So I've started getting to the point, and I'm kinetic. So I'm constantly moving. I like moving, so it's hard for me
Mhm.
to take time off. But I've learned how to structure that of like, hey, look, here's your recovery day. Do activation stuff. You're not blowing yourself out. I'm still doing the same movements. I'm doing less weights, right? And I'm doing something for like 5 reps really slow just to activate it, just to get my muscles, like make sure I'm moving my body again, or take that zone 1 or zone 2 walk, really low key, just kind of more flowy. Don't get out of breath, right? If you still want to get your steps in. And I'm a little bit of an adrenaline junkie, so I know that's like I can't go very long without my hard, like hot, sweaty workout. But like that's a time where you can just sit there and play around with that and just see how you feel, right? If you feel a little bit drained, hey, look, like this is that week where I'm not redlining myself.
Yeah.
And I've started to learn that. And especially I've come back from some injuries and those types of things. I've had my shoulder replaced, and um afterwards, like so many times when I'd come back from an injury, I'm like, oh, I can do that right where I left off, right? And it's like, no, 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 no. Like, just progress back into it. It's okay, right? Like, and I've also changed my mind shift too. And I hope hopefully maybe this is a shift that can help your listeners change a little bit. Is like, I've looked at fitness and like my wellness is something I'm going to do to the day they put me in the ground. Right. I'm going to get up and do this tomorrow. So if I had a bad workout today, it's okay. I'm going to do it again tomorrow, right? Just it's better than sitting on the couch and not doing it. And it's also better than sitting here beating yourself up all day long because you weren't the best at this or something like that. You're not going to be the best every single day. Not every day is going to be your peak day. And if you can sort of learn how to train yourself into peak days throughout the week where it's not peak weeks, right? Like no one uh, we've heard so many gurus that like think like you're going to have this curve that just keeps climbing, climbing, climbing. Like that's not how things go, right? It's like you
Mm-hmm.
want to try to keep the dips like not as big of dips, and you want to try to keep the like you're not going to blow the roof off every single time. It just doesn't happen. So the change for me was like stay consistent, be consistent what I do, understand that I'm not going to be a peak every single day. If something's off, allow it to be off, right? Activate, do some things around it. You can always sort of figure out a movement or something like that to get in. And it's just really is about consistency, kind of finding out what works for you, but also having the foundation of knowing how your body and how your hormone and your cycle actually work so that you can gear things around that. So kind of diving into fasting for women, there's multiple different strategies out there for fasting. There's
Mm-hmm.
intermittent fasting where it's anywhere from like, 12 hours to 20 hours, 24-hour types of fasting from day to day. And then there's one meal a day. There's, prolonged fast, 24 to 36 hours or longer. There's a 5-2 cycle. And for the most part, I think a lot of females, if they can tolerate this, will do really, really well with a 5-2 schedule. And this is kind of goes into the hormone play, right? So you're kind of getting into the hormone side of things where you have 5 days where you eat normally, and then you have 2 days where you fast, or you have 500 calories or less on those 2 days. Like, I typically like doing a pure water fast. I like it for the detoxification. My skin feels better, my joints feel better, my stomach feels better. It sort of just gives my body a time just to shut off, right? Like about 50 to 70% of our energy, depending on how much we eat throughout the day, goes to digesting food. The reason why people are tired so much is because we eat so damn much. We're like wearing ourselves out by eating, like eat every 2 to 3 meals. Like that really is not a strategy. You won't find animals in the wild doing that, eh, except for animals that have multiple chamber stomachs or that can ferment their food, like cows and horses and stuff like that. They can kind of nibble on that stuff all day long, but they have a different digestive tract. For humans, like have 2 meals a day. Like it really doesn't take a whole bunch more to than that. Maybe you have 3 meals a day on your 5 days where you're not really focusing on the fasting side. But the 2 days you're having like very restricted calories or water or black coffee or plain tea on those days, kind of going through it. Um, that's kind of one that I gear to with women that really like, hey, look, I can do this. Like I'm into fasting. This isn't going to be hard for me, type of thing. And they seem to really like enjoy it. They get all their benefits that they're looking for. They don't seem to like fluctuate or really have high levels of cortisol and stuff like that throughout the day. They seem to manage things pretty well. I have had a lot of women that have tons of success just starting off with circadian rhythm style fasting, where it's just 12 hours, right? Don't eat after 7 p.m., don't eat before 7 a.m. And that usually seems to be a really good one with helping with weight reduction. And you're not really getting into the heavy detoxifications and that type of stuff, but that helps with uh, hormonal balancing and actually like giving your body a chance to just shut off from digesting food for a little while.
Yeah.
um 16/8 is one of those things. So really depending on what your goal is with fasting, between weight loss, feeling better, detoxification, just various autoimmune diseases and those types of things, fasting has shown to be really, really powerful and impactful for that. So that will really determine your length of time, right? Like
Mhm.
the sicker you are, the more weight you may have to lose or whatever that might be, the longer you may want to fast, right? You may want to do a few prolonged fasts, 24, 36, 48, maybe even 72-hour fast. Like I said, not that last week, but the first 3 weeks of things like and so you're able to really like challenge yourselves on those weeks where maybe that last week we kind of cut those things out or try that maybe 5-2 cycle or just don't even do it at all, right? Giving yourself the freedom of saying, hey, look, I put in the work, those types of things, but don't use that last week to blow everything up and like fall off the wagon with eating, but just, limit the time restriction and that type of stuff. So, but like I said, there's several, if you've never done fasting, I'd say start off with circadian rhythm, 12 and 12, and then build that up to where you want to be. Um, I've done multiple different schedules, 16/8. I'm actually even in a phase right now where I'm not fasting like as much on a daily basis, like every single day, but I'll do a prolonged fast once or twice throughout the week, and then I go right back to eating. The thing for me was I'm trying to gain weight again. I had shoulder surgery. I kind of lost weight. I'm trying to maintain weight. So for me to kind of maintain my weight now, I'm having to really consume a good amount of calories, and it's been getting harder and harder for me to like maintain my weight on 1 or 2 meals where it's like, look, I definitely have to have 2 meals a day. I can't get this many
Mm.
calories in one meal like I was. But I did OMAD for probably a good solid.
The one meal a day. Yeah.
Yeah, 1 meal a day, like for a good solid year and a half. And it worked really, really well for me. When I was injured, I really liked it. I didn't have to take pain meds or any of that type of stuff. I was able to keep inflammation really, really low. Um, and just 1 meal a day just kind of kept my body on a low level of like inflammation. My hormones felt like they were pretty good. I was able to maintain my weight because I wasn't able to be as active as what I wanted to be with the injuries. So it really does, like, your life's going to shift, your life's going to change, and be flexible with it. But it is really a great tool to have on the tool belt. It really is a foundational thing for me. I feel like if we can kind of overcome, let's face it, we probably all have eating addictions. I know I do. Like I'm a sugar tramp. Like like literally ice cream and like Reese cups, and like I have to look the other way. Like people have it. Like I'll be around my friends
Self-discipline
with
to the
ice. I'm like,
max.
ah. But it is really, really definitely difficult on me. And that's why like I abstained from it because it is hard for me, right? It's like
Mm.
alcoholics really can't go back in and have like a drink or two here and there, right? Like there's a reason behind that. It's kind of the same thing. Like when I open the door to like the stupid processed sugar that I like I want it more and more, where it's like just
Yeah.
shut the door and then I kind of start forgetting about it.
Yeah.
Um, but I definitely think those things kind of matter. But I highly recommend with fasting, just I think you're going to find yourself, you definitely have more energy. I used to realize like right up to the point of time when I was going to break my fast, like around the 16, 18-hour window, like I felt amazing, like just red hot, brain clicking, your body's producing ketones, your brain loves ketones. It's also anti-inflammatory. It's very soothing to the body in a lot of situations. A lot of people talk
Yeah.
about like ketosis as being bad and stuff like that, but you're going to be in a ketosis state while you're fasting because but that's a good thing because you're burning your stored fat, you're burning your disease cells. You're starting to like regulate your body, uh, getting rid of, we talked about it last time, like kind of zombie cells or senescent cells, like that when you're young have some benefit for you. They help you recover and repair and stuff like that. But as you age and they accumulate in your body, they start becoming more or less toxic, right? They're kind of
Yeah.
precancerous cells, and you want to do
Mhm.
your best to get rid of that, do that cellular cleanup. Um, and usually 24-hour or more fasting really help dive into that, but routine fasting as well helps clear that up as well too. So
I
um,
love it, Dave. It's so good. But we covered so much, and I think I know that whoever's listening will be really thinking about their goals, like what is their desired state? What do you want? Right? Is it the more energy? Is it maybe losing some excess weight? Is it gaining weight? Is it just wanting to maintain or achieve that peak state? And then, looking at your cycle as a way to really understand your body, but B, like, plan your activities and how you eat, and all the things that you need to keep in mind. Like you said, it's about consistency. It's knowing ourselves, like knowing when we feel those cravings, and what's in the house, and and really making some intentional choices and decisions. But with the fasting, I love how there's so many different options, which I think is a big myth out there. And also it's experimenting, it's thinking, it's figuring out what works best for you, and really giving something a good, I would say, what, 3 months, 2 to 3
Like
months,
I feel like 90 days of
90 days.
like
Yeah.
is usually like your sweet spot, right? Like you sort of start seeing like the good, you start seeing if anything doesn't work for you, you kind of start picking up the patterns. I feel like when you look at stuff like really quick snapshots, like you really can't see, right? Because there's a delay with everything that we do with this.
Yeah.
And a lot of people got to think like just because I worked out today, the benefits really there's some immediate benefits, right? There's some
Sure.
cellular and chemical immediate benefits, but the real results don't come for like several weeks down the road, right? Like you're never gonna have that beach body going to the gym one time, right? Like it takes that time to turn around and like go to the gym, do the things on a consistent basis, and give it a time. But if you do know, once again, listen to yourself. If something feels off or it's not feeling right, like stop, right? We talked about it
Yeah.
earlier. I have a mentor that Dr. Jeff, he looks at me and he's really good at basically telling you where you're at, right? Like,
Yeah.
so we used this example earlier. Like, if I live in Denver and my goal is to get to New York, but I just hustle muscle. I just take massive action and I go. But in reality, I'm in Houston and I'm now heading towards LA. Like I'm really way off, right? So if you ever
Mhm.
kind of get that piece, like where you're at this like pause, it's okay. Pull the car over, examine, like analyze what's going on, and realize, hey, is this just kind of like going through it? Is this me detoxing, right? When you fast and you start doing that, there might be days where you feel like crap. But it's because the stuff you put in your body or environmentally, right, through eating or even skincare products, any of
Yeah.
that type of stuff, right?
Right.
Your skin is the largest organ. So there's
Totally.
all types of things that are out there. And this just kind of helps you get rid of that toxin, that toxic load, and that buildup. And it's going to start helping you feel better. But a lot of times before you start feeling better, you're going to feel worse.
Yes, Dave. I mean, like, it's so true. It's just tough love what we're doing. We're giving you guys here. It is just the tough love. And like, everything that you're saying is so on point. It's so, so on point. So we're going to talk about how you can supercharge your business trips to get in shape next. So, is there anything you wanted to mention around fasting for women before we wrap up and head to our next episode?
Yes, there's an awesome book. It's called Fast Like a, it's either Fast Like a Woman or Fast Like a Girl. It's by Dr. Mindy. Um, oh, I can't remember her last name. I'm so bad with like remembering book titles. I have all these books and stuff that I've read, and I'm like, I'll get a book combined with the other one. But it's called Fast Like a Woman or Fast Like a Girl, one of the two. But it's by Dr. Mindy, and I can't remember her last name. I always call her Dr. Mindy. She
We
introduces herself.
will, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, great book to read, kind of, and it also helps you around the hormonal or around your 28-day cycle and how you should and how you can structure your life around those types of things. So, really great resource. Highly recommend it if this is something that you want to explore more and get more information around. Great book to start with.
Amazing. We're going to find that book and we're going to put it around this video. And of course, if you want to get more of Dave, if you want to really dive,
I can't.
re,
The blur.
the
There it goes.
blur, fast like a
But
girl.
Fast Like a Girl, Dr. Mindy Pelz, Pelz.
Okay, awesome. I've written that down.
Okay.
But if you guys are wanting to have more support, more personalized help in your wellness journey, then definitely join us over at Wellness for Wealth, and we can't wait to see you there. So thanks, Dave, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.